Alright, let's do this. Hello, welcome to another episode of Underhive Lorekeepers. This episode sponsored by Democracy. Democracy helping idiots enforce their beliefs on their betters since ancient Greece or something. I'm Spamuel. He's Nathan. How are you, buddy?
I'm good. Well, no, I'm not. I'm actually quite under the weather. You might be able to hear it in my voice, unfortunately. But you seem more under the weather, if that's a thing.
No, I'm.
Everything okay at home?
Everything's fine.
Everything okay with your painting desk?
Okay. Scummers, I think if any of you have listened to our show for a while, or you have spoken to me and Nathan sort of within the podcast or social media or anything like that, I think you all know that we are pretty level-headed people. And we like to keep sort of within the podcast what we talk about podcast related. And I'm a little bit pissed off because and I don't like to get political, but unfortunately something has happened and it is leading us, and I think it is leading all of us in a bad direction, because we have had an instance where a vocal majority have been able to manipulate and remove the logical conclusion of voting and have taken it to a place where it is now. Honestly, I'm really trying not to swear, and I don't want this to go down as the political episode, but democracy is bullshit.
Is this...
All right?
Whoa, wait a second. Is this because of that vote about, like, the flavoured milk, and everybody agreed that flavoured milk's better than regular milk?
No. This isn't something, and I will inevitably now rant about flavoured milk, but this isn't some ridiculous little. And the way I'm speaking, I think a lot of people are thinking I might actually be talking about like an actual political election. No, I don't care about that crap.
What is this
So
about then?
I didn't win best sports today.
Didn't you?
No, I didn't.
No, wait, sorry, let me correct that. There was too much surprise in my voice. Oh, yeah, no, I didn't expect you would. Yeah, that's better.
Yeah, so, the listeners,
I will
you
let
know,
you know.
me.
I will let you know, I also didn't win Best Sports.
You didn't show up for day 2, and like I probably shouldn't be sort of I'm getting really aggressive. But so Arcromunda day 2 today, and so I didn't win Best Sports, and I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed because once again, and for the first time, because people need to remember, yes, I am a 15-time Best Sports winner, and
That
when it
matters.
comes to
No,
it's
I want somebody to correct
don't
you.
interrupt my rant, sir. Don't interrupt my rant.
Go ahead.
And the person who won this year, Daniel, don't get me wrong, was such a nice dude. Like, he 100% deserved to win Best Sports. He did. But the problem is, this is literally what I've built my entire personality around. And now I have to go and do something stupid, like learn how to play the game and win other things. That being said...
Learn how to paint.
Or learn how to paint, yes. Give myself more than like 8 minutes to paint an entire game. I did win second Best Sports. So technically, as this was a 32-player event, let's say 30 because there were 2 dropouts, yourself and mate of ours, Scott.
I just got dropped out as well.
Yeah.
What happened?
Which so technically I beat... So I came dead last, except I did beat you and Scott. So... and then I got second Best Sports. And if it was... So let's say 30 people. And Arcanicon's usually like 150 people, right?
Yeah. Go on.
So that means at 5, and I'm a 50. I'm effectively a 20-time best sports winner.
So
I'm basically the Ric Flair of best sports when it comes to Necro. Oh, it's Nature Boy Spamuel. You know what? Cancel this intro. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Underhive Lorekeepers podcast. This episode proudly sponsored by your 20-time best sports winning Spamuel. As always, I am Spamuel. I'm being rudely interrupted by the minorly managerial manfit himself, Nathan. How are you, buddy?
You're an idiot. You're just an idiot. Like you bring down the mood of the podcast, and then you destroy the very core essence of mathematics in terms of trying to figure out your silly equation. I want to see your equation. Write it down. Write it down for me. I want to see it. I want the audience to see it, and I want you to feel judged when you're told you're incredibly wrong.
This is an auditory medium.
Yes.
I can't show them my formulations.
We have Instagram. Go for it. Post it up there.
Nah, that would be rude. People don't go there for that sort of content. They don't care about math. Wargamers don't care about math. They care about like cool pictures and rants about democracy and
people who win best sports 3 times. I think is that all?
It is 3 times. This time I did technically win second best sport, so 3.5 times. I'm basically the best Chaos Space Marine Codex ever, which was the 3.5 Codex.
So wait a second.
Oh my god, Emperor. That's awesome.
Wait a second. You cannot say, oh my god, Emperor, I'm the Chaos 3.5 book. That makes no sense whatsoever. You are
just
a
like
heretic.
democracy. Just like democracy.
You leave Dan alone. A much deserved win.
Yeah, and we're not going to go too much into Arcromunda. We'll break all that down on a Patreon. But just quickly, I want to give a shout out to sort of everyone I played. It was an awesome event, especially Boss Muppet. We had an absolute cracker of a game where he taught me to fear Escher. I want to give a shout out to Matt, who basically committed a hate crime and forced me to drink flavoured milk.
Well played, Matt. Well played. I didn't see that on day one.
Yeah.
Very well played, sir.
I want to give. It was great. We'll talk about it on Patreon.
Yeah. I'll do my shout outs on Patreon. Unfortunately,
all one day of them.
Do you know what? If you multiply that by the amount of tournaments I've been to, multiplied by the amount of flavoured milks I drink, that means I've been to like 600 days of a tournament, if we use your maths.
That's ridiculous. How does drinking milk quantify to time?
Oh, God.
Honestly, you're an embarrassment to yourself.
You know what? I brought myself down to a level. I deserve it.
You're an embarrassment to the podcast.
So, speaking of, we have a podcast to do. So.
Yes, we do. Okay, you're right. You're distracting everything. You're ruining this. I'm going to bring this bad boy back on track and get us back into podcast mode. Tight. I'm going to steal what you usually do. I want to give a shout out to our new Patreons first off. Brian, Josh, Karkuna UK, which I think is probably the coolest one so far.
Yeah.
Mikhail, Christian, Nate, Bo, Goran Sandstrom, which honestly sounds like a Viking bard, and I really want to go drinking with that dude.
It sounds like a Goliath, but anyway.
Goran Sandstrom, yes, it's an Ashless
them.
Goliath.
Yeah.
And if we have, it was Nathan who offended you, and James the Weak. I think he might be weak of inhibition, but strong of mind, body, and
I believe so.
I don't know, ferocity.
I will say I do have a favourite off that list, though. of the names?
It's Nate, isn't it?
Of course it is.
Yeah.
We are a brotherhood.
It was the fate of Nate.
Right. So, thank you for all of our patrons. If you enjoy the show and you are interested in supporting the podcast, please shoot over to patreon.com/the Underhive Lorekeepers podcast. We are 100% funded by the goodwill of our audience, though we do this for the love of our hobby, our tournaments, our best sports places, which we didn't get this year, even as a collective. And all other things that are associated with this. We do this because we love it. Now, hopefully, the people who did get to speak to us at Arcromunda did get that vibe as well.
And it's kind of also for the love of your sultry podcast voice right now.
Oh, it's mainly due to the fact that I have been unwell for the better part of, I'm going to say, about 36 hours. So each month we have a Patreon exclusive episode, as well as competitions, polls on episodes, and other bonus content. And do remember, folks, that our hobby diaries are free on the Patreon, so please jump in, just have a listen. We just want people to be inspired and inspire us. If you're looking for other ways to support us, get onto our social media, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. We do have YouTube. A like and subscribe helps us grow and get our particular brand of lore out into the world. All of our links are in the show notes. And please don't forget that the 5-star reviews that you leave us really do help massively for us to be found, I guess, more organically online when people are searching for things. I think I was reading through one of our Spotify stats today, just because, that's how I keep myself entertained when I'm crook. And it was saying that, people searching, or just like people coming up on the home screen, because we're one of the top searches. I think it was like 12,000 hits or something like that in a 60-day period, which is amazing. So that is all those 5-star reviews really working for us. Thank you very much.
And if people are interested in abominable intelligence, I've created a Nathan soundboard in which I've taken pre-recorded segments from different episodes and things that we've edited, and am using them to make Nathan agree with me, which is awesome fun. But as Nathan and a couple of listeners have apparently reliably informed me, that is identity theft.
It
And
is
I
identity
probably
theft.
should stop.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to.
You should. You absolutely should. Yeah, we do have a Hobby Diary episode where, unfortunately, I was
Abandoned me with your family.
Yes, I abandoned you, and I went off and did other things. And Sam decided to just become a criminal.
Yeah. It's what I do. Which is ironic, because this episode we are in fact discussing the criminal alliances and organizations that are on Necromunda. Now, we haven't really done much like this. I know there's another podcast that has done sort of a glance into the sort of the noble families and how they can be sort of interacting with, and how you can sort of build gangs and ideas around them in your Necromunda campaigns.
I have heard about that show, but I don't know how well rated they are, or how well respected they are. If this happens to get across to the upper hive Lorekeepers, well, I'll see you in the streets.
And we don't associate with those types of people. But, this is the first time that you could say a 20-time best sports podcast is actually going into these criminal organizations, and how we sort of do these episodes over on Patreon when it comes to hangers-on, dramatis personae, that sort of thing. We talk about how we would maybe build a gang around those ideas. But the cool thing about these as being alliances is how we would also theme them within our gangs, and sort of maybe how we would build a gang, a sort of outcast gang around them as well. So, Nath, because you're unwell and you had today off, because you had more important things to do than play Necromunda, why don't you take a pick from any of those criminal alliances.
Oh, I'm going to. But I can't hold my tongue, if I'm honest.
Oh, okay.
Okay, one last thing about this stupid best sports thing, right? And I've been holding my tongue a little bit here. Now, a lot of times you'll find our show is highly organised and highly prepared, so we don't ambush each other with things. But I'm ambushing Sam with this now, because he can go to hell. When I first played at Arcromunda, I got the exact same best sports score as you. You just happened to finish higher. Now, that particular year, they didn't award a second best sports.
Okay, that's correct.
So does that not make me at some level as you? We're going to run a tight ship here, folks. But I need an answer.
But was your... So we did... And it's just like today at Arcromunda. Myself and Daniel did receive, from my understanding, the same votes, the same points when it came to sports.
Yep.
But because Daniel had finished higher,
Yep.
he got best sports. It was a tiebreaker, which I totally agree with.
That's exactly what happened between you and me.
But I was recognised, and I did receive a prize, and was actively called by the collective as the second best sports. Were you recognised? Were you recognised as second best sport? Did anyone acknowledge your sports score? Just a single word answer, yes or no?
So the criminal organisation I'm going to talk about today is the Rogue Factoria. Are you happy to continue your episode, or are you going to keep derailing us?
It's fine. Hope you enjoyed that cruise. I'm not bitter. I'm sorry, everyone. He's currently choking on his own rage.
Yeah,
right now.
I'm not. What he said was mildly funny. I'll give him that. All right, Ro, do you know what? Tight episode, Sunday night. Don't be foolish.
I start a new job so I have to get up for my new job in 6.5 hours. We really need to go.
And I've got to go back to work after 2 weeks and 2 days of being sick. All right, so Rogue Factoria. Counterfeit weaponry and war gear are lucrative enterprises for a criminal organisation and have the added benefit of keeping their allies well equipped with ordnance. As natural scavengers and notorious misers, the more nefarious elements of House Cawdor make great use of the Rogue Factoria and their many knockoff weapons and war gear. Factoria work gangs are motley groups of miscreants gathered from wherever their rogue Factoria masters can scrounge them. Some are criminals working off debts to their Underhive bosses, while others are escapees from Uphive who came to the Underhive seeking freedom and wealth, but have found a life much like their old one. These irregular fighters are armed with a wide array of cheap counterfeit weaponry, often taken from the cast-offs of the factory line. So armed, they are then pressed into service as ad hoc militia for their masters. The life of a rogue Factoria worker is of little consequence to the Factoria's crime lords, and they are often used as fodder to protect the Manufactoria plants. Sometimes, should it be required, they might be loaned out to allied gangs as an act of expendable troops in Necromunda's endless inter-gang warfare. So, there are multiple different criminal organisations that we were able to look at, and this is the one that really sort of tickled my fancy a little bit, the Rogue Factoria, or basically the Sunday trash and treasure market is what it is.
Oh, God, yep.
So I hadn't told Sam about this, but this is the way that I envisage these guys. You know, they're selling like, yeah, we have bolters, but it's spelt like Bultars. Boltars. And you're like,
Boltars?
Boltars.
Yeah.
I'll have a bolter. The rounds look pretty small. Yeah, no, don't worry about them. They're fine. You just keep loading them and keep shooting them. Are they high explosive, like, self-propelling rounds? Yes. Yes, they are.
They are very round.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like the time I went to there's a very large market in in Melbourne here, and I was cruising around, just cruising through. The markets are amazing here in Melbourne, and I almost bought an actual. I was going to buy a TV. I was like, oh, it's pretty cheap. It's if it lasts me 12 months, whatever. And I remember it was like Panasonic. And I remember I got or thinking about that Simpsons episode. It's like, genuine Sawny. You're like,
Yeah,
I'm not going to purchase this because I'm sure if I plug it in, it is going to explode.
yeah, exactly. Or best case scenario, you only get a single channel with it, and that's what I imagine. Like, you buy an auto gun off one of these Rogue Factoria, and it has like single shot, burst shot, rapid fire, but as you go to click it, it just like snaps off, or it just spins and it's just stuck on single shot. You're like, do you know what? Fall on me, because I've bought weapons from these people 5 times, and I have lost 4 limbs because I've relied on these weapons. So I am the fool in this particular scenario. But anyway, from a more, I guess, lore side of it, rather than having a laugh with it, the Rogue Factoria are very interesting as well, because they sort of take away from the majesty of technology. So, and I know that's a weird thing to say with regard to 40k, because technology in 40k is guarded in a way. Like, yes, you can go off and you can have your 200 variations of a las gun, but the core elements all stay the same. And
Yeah.
the way it is produced would be with a great amount of ceremony and a great amount of involvement of the Mechanicum, or the Adeptus Mechanicus. So what the Rogue Factoria are doing is they're making cheap knockoffs, and there's no way the Adeptus Mechanicus would stand for that. They wouldn't have, a tech priest nearby in one of these Factoria and basically ticking all the boxes for them. They wouldn't be doing anything along those lines.
It's already sort of like a gang idea. Okay, sorry, I've done that wrong. Okay, gang idea.
Gang idea.
One of these rogue factoriums, but it's actually somewhat legit because it's run by a rogue tech priest. Like, maybe he's come to Necromunda, he's cycled through, he's been sort of issued to them effectively, and he's done some questioning, or his actual Magos has done some questioning. Old Ronti's basically had that guy ganked because he's started asking about all this high quality Van Sar merchandise. This guy's made his way down Hive and has wound up in one of these rogue manufactoriums and is actually running it, thinking of himself like this little fake fabricator general.
It's like his own personal empire.
His own little empire, and he's sort of, he starts muscling in on these different rogue factoria, and basically just pushes himself in there and effectively starts making his own brand of merchandise. Like, I just think that would be really cool to sort of play with it in that respect.
That's awesome. What I can imagine is I think when you take the Rogue Factoria as part of a criminal alliance or whatever it is, you can actually get characters assigned to your gang. So these the Factoria workers you would have as almost like proto servitors. So he's not quite making servitors. He still needs them a little bit sort of switched on, not just constantly fed commands. So it's just guys that he's done an old
Johnny Razor.
Johnny Razor too. Yeah. He's just gone. He's gone. You have this leg. You have this arm. But I'm happy to pay off my debt working as one of your Factoria workers. No. You'll pay off your debt with a tail. You can have a tail with a digilaser attached to it. Fantastic. I'm a genius. The Mechanicus have lost so much in losing me. Yeah. No, I sort of I was thinking the same thing as well about like tech priests or a cadre of servants to the Mechanicus who see this as a way to generate their own power, to generate their own outcomes. Maybe perhaps they've been taken away from a mission, so they were on the brink of penetrating a tomb world or something like that, and the Mechanicus has said, no, we need you to go monitor a Lehman Russ production facility, which just makes the left-handed handle on the command cupola. That's what you're doing. And they were like on the precipice of taking over a tomb world. Anyway, they get waylaid into getting to Necromunda. So they, something happens to them. They end up on Necromunda, and they take over one of these Factoria. In a way that they go, okay, well, we're here, we'll do our duty. But they see an opportunity now to create some income, create some power that allows them then to slip off and go back to that tomb world.
Ooh, I really like that. The Magos never saw my talent, never saw how essential I am for the betterment of the Omnissiah's will.
Yep.
So during my my 10-hour shift, I'll be in command of this manufactorium where I'm producing these left-handed handles for command cupolas to better than anyone. I'll have a 99.97% perfection rate, absolutely.
Yep.
But then during my rest cycle, I'll be creating my own manufactorium. I'll be using my intellect, which so greatly outstrips the Magos, who's little better than a lobotomized tech servitor in comparison to my greatness. And all he's doing is he's overcharging these plasma sort of
coils.
The plasma coils inside these pistols, and when they fire real well, but they've got like a 25% malfunction rate.
Yeah.
And, or he's just really starting to go over the edge where he's like, I've managed to capture these these HRUD weapons, and so I'm going to take the technology from that and put it into Imperial weapons and show that my intellect is clearly touched by the Omnissiah. In reality, you're a filthy heretic.
Yeah, you're a filthy heretic. Or he's adding like an extra 2% of burning to the flamers. He's like, they burn 2% more. How do we know? Well, they're on fire more. But we can't address the evidence afterwards. How dare you? How dare you question my abilities? So, this is a part of that Factoria that I saw, is like the presence of the Omnissiah being, or not the Omnissiah, the Mechanicus being there, and how that could be corrupted, because we know they're very corruptible. But speaking about all of this, they actually have a rule in the Book of Faith, which is Eye of the Omnissiah. So they actually allow you, they allow your opponent to take a bounty hunter if your gang has included any fighters carrying counterfeit weaponry. So this is the I guess the good aspect of the Mechanicus, the ones who are still praying over each click of the keyboard and casting the special oils and scents and whatever over every bolt around that's made. But they basically hire a bounty hunter to go track down who's selling these counterfeit weapons. Two things from this, and it's a little bit off topic, but I don't care. Shock horror. One is that it is a great mission to take on board. So you force a gang to be using some counterfeit weaponry. Maybe they were fooled into using it, and now suddenly they're up against this crazy, bonkers, Mechanicus approved bounty hunter. Now that is the second thing there. The opportunity to make a proper kill robot. Something that is just like, it kills and assesses data. That's all it does. So you have an incredibly powerful and murderous bounty hunter hunting after one of these gangs, and really mechanicum it up, like go over the top. Tendrils coming out left, right, and center. It would just look so crazy.
I'm actually picturing it like the 40k version of like an IP lawyer. So
Yes.
the Mechanicus have basically got these like murder bounty hunters on retainer, and they're going through marketplaces and finding people buying the equipment that's they fly them back to their house, and their sort of hideouts and that sort of thing, and they're straight up just killing these people because it's like that is clearly a lasgun that you bought off Temu, my friend.
The Teemu 40k, yeah. I love
Yeah,
that.
which is the Rogue Factoria.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, just from that one small aspect of the, they classify it as a drawback. That small aspect allows you to just play around with it a little bit more. But I guess going back more into the Rogue Factoria itself, when we talk Necromunda, the thing that makes the most sense to us is small arms. So, pistols, special weapons, standard weapons, that kind of stuff, even melee weapons, what have you. But the Rogue Manufactoria, or Rogue Factoria, you're not limited to that. Do you know what I mean? No. So you can start to talk about mounts. Like, what are these rogue mounts that they're making? Do you know what I mean? What if it's somebody who's basically got a demon engine that is fueling their ideas? And this actually stems from one of the ideas that I saw at Arcromunda. So one of the players actually had a plague drone, I think it is, the Nurgle plague drone with it's like a death roller type get up in there. The way it was modelled and the way that it was painted, it clearly didn't belong within the realms of the Imperium, but it didn't look out of place in Necromunda. And that's what I think you can get away with the Rogue Factoria here, is that you have the opportunity to take them down pathways of going, yeah, this bit of machinery looks like it belongs in Necromunda, but my word, is certainly skirting the line of heretic and Dark Mechanicum-esque technology.
Yes.
So I know recently the Dark Mechanicum got a release it within Legions, and some of their stalk tanks, or whatever the case might be, it's a type of technology you don't see, used at all within the Imperium. It's more sort of walkers or something more bipedal and so forth. But imagine stalking, like a stalk suit, for use of a better term, almost like a Doc Octopus type suit. Do you know what I mean?
But basically like man, I can't believe I forgot the name for this temporarily. The Arachnorig.
Yes, exactly that. Exactly my mindset. So something that, even the Van Saar would understand the concept of the design and what it's doing, but it would look totally alien to them. And that's because the Rogue Factoria is not necessarily producing a counterfeit version of the Arachnorig, but it's producing something with the same mindset, but because it's a demon engine within, a demon facility, basically, then it's producing something else. You know what I mean? So, because the Factoria talk about, the Rogue Factoria talk about the fact that it's mainly, knockoffs and that kind of thing, where they're going, yes, we're going to make stub pistols, but they're going to be maybe less powered or shorter range or whatever the case might be. But I think that you have the opportunity to explore what they're doing outside of that realm, not just making knockoff las pistols, but are they making, Torux vehicles to be used by enforcers who are really on the outskirts of the law.
So I'm now picturing from what you're saying there, not just Rogue Factorium, but also like I want to call them Bad Zone Mechanicus.
Yeah,
Is how I'm saying.
Yeah,
I'm
definitely.
picturing them in my mind now, where they are. I don't remember. I think it was one of the. I think it might have been a Caiaphas Cain book where they were talking about how they'd replaced the. No, it was. I don't remember what book it was, but they'd replaced the engine of this Chimera with effectively like a wooden they were burning wood. They were burning like
Oh, right.
fossil fuels
Yeah.
to fuel it. I can't remember if it was Caiaphas Cain or I want to say Gaunt's Ghost, but I just think everything is Gaunt's Ghosts.
Yeah, I was going to say the same as well, but then I'm like,
Yeah.
it's the one guard book that always pops to my
Yeah,
head.
but almost these bad zone mechanicus
Yep.
sort of, but I also want to think, I've been reading a lot about this, the Vashdor the Arcaphane. He's the... he's the ruler of the Forge of Souls in 40k, he's amazing. But I'm now picturing almost these, not necessarily chaotic tech priests, but they're really doing what you said before. They're skirting the borders between just doing dumb stuff and inventing / changing,
Yep.
but also, they've got this weird, like, demon forge, this mini forge of souls where they're, creating maybe corrupted machine spirits.
Yeah, 100%. So, but it's you say machine spirit. I'm sort of like, I don't even care about the machine spirit. It's more about the tech that they're making. So they're looking at things and they're going, how can we make that with the resources we have available to us?
Yeah.
And you can really go down the pathway of some incredibly gothic-looking material, provided that you go, well, it comes from a rogue Factoria. And this allows you to play with gang ideas beyond Cawdor. So the rogue Factoria are obviously heavily linked to Cawdor because they're the scrappers and the street urchins and so forth. They're the ones who are going to be probably using the counterfeit weapons more so than anybody else.
Garbage weapons for garbage people.
Exactly. There we go. But when you push the idea beyond the concept of small arms and you start to say, let's look at other different types of weaponry and so forth, you can then push it into other gangs. So what's House Orlok?
Hell yes.
Yeah. House Orlok quad bikes and the trikes. Is it a trike or a quad bike?
Quad bike.
Quad bike. Yeah. No, they have a trike, don't they?
No, squats have tracks.
Ah, okay. Good correction. Anyway,
Damn it! Correction.
So how can that be changed differently? How can that be modeled? And it might be a simple thing of removing the wheels and adding tracks, but then suddenly you've got that reinforced base. So you say we can chunk a little bit of extra armor plating up on the side. We can do a few different elements with it, and it starts to become its own. So if you use the Factoria as the premise of your idea, it's like, how do we reinvent? How do we reimagine all the weapons in the hands of my soldiers?
Yeah, I really like that.
And then coupled on top of that, how do they move differently? Like, what are the different kind of mounts we can play for them and so forth? Like, the Cawdor mount, the Chocobo thing.
The Chocobo.
Chocobo, it is.
Yeah, the Chocobo from Final Fantasy. Oh my god, stop. No. Because do you remember, shout out to Lachlan, who was at Arcromunda this weekend.
Oh, g'day, Loch. Very nice meeting you, by the way, mate.
Yeah, awesome dude. He did the Eldar Ashwaste Nomads, and he used the Lumineth, like kangaroo mount things as his bugs. Dude, they were sick.
They fitted so beautifully well. I've never even thought about like playing around with them, but I don't know. It's a slight distraction from what we're talking about. I don't know how much he stripped away from the miniature, but they looked so clean, like without any sort of adornment on them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it gave them this really, I'm not going to say feral, but very organic, very maybe just tamed wildlife rather than broken, like a broken steed sort of thing.
Reminded me of the, not the Craft Worlds, not the Drukhari, they are
Exodites.
the Exodites. Yeah. Very Exodite in the mindset of, hey, we've got this connection, you and me. But
that's the vibe I got off it.
Yeah, but I'm loving where you're going with this idea for how you do it for different things because, like, if you're going to be building a gang around it, if they're breaking one law and making, Temu guns, what's to say they're not making Temu transports or, Temu bikes, or haven't stolen the Attilan design,
Yeah.
and it's now the Ratatatlan. And they've got thinner wheels, which this particular Escher gang really like because it lets them do really quick turns. They're fast, they're light, they're not exactly the strongest, but yeah, dude, that's sick. I really like that.
Yeah. So another aspect of the Rogue Factoria is it allows you to add in Factoria work gangs.
Yeah,
Right.
oh, yes,
Now,
I'm real glad we got. Actually, before you jump into this, you mentioned the counterfeit weapons.
yep.
So when you have the Rogue Factoria as your ally, when you go to the black market, you can get and you started sort of going down this way before. It's not just small arms. You can get a counterfeit version of any weapon. Their rarity is reduced by 2, and they are 20% cheaper because they're from Temu. But that's like grav guns, bazookas,
Bazookas aren't real, but, yeah.
like anything like that. And you get the reckless or unstable.
Now, I was about to
type,
say, there's a reason for that 20% discount, and that is because you pull the trigger and you're like, oh, I'm in the med bay.
why am I on fire?
This
This is a knife. But also, you get a while you're allied to the Rogue Factoria, you also just get a free ammo jack working for you, and it doesn't count towards your hangers on limit. Like that's called hedge armorers, but it's amazing because it feeds exactly on what you said before. They're just doing things, and if you've got this alliance with them, it's just, oh hey, yeah, you're going to be doing some work for us, so we're going to slip you a couple of extra rounds. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly. So when you start to play with these criminal elements, you really begin to impart a particular identity into your gang, because
yes,
not only, like you said, the hedge armorers, you begin like the buying and selling of weapons, or buying of illegal weapons or counterfeit weapons. But what I was mentioning earlier, the gang workers. So you start to have to fashion these miniatures, and they can, as I say, begin to shape the identity of where your gang is going to go. But the way I look at this is that those gang workers, they don't have to be, the ones paying off debt. They don't have to be the scummers. They can actually be people who are turning up to monitor how their weapons are working.
Yes.
There's almost like a respect in their trade for the weapons that they're making. So they're saying, yes, we know we're making them with less stable materials, or, less stable power packs, or whatever the case might be. But we also still want to improve that.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
although we're doing knockoffs, we need to make sure those knockoffs stay functional, stay good, so that we can actually, I don't know, not be competitive with the actual the house approved Factoria, but definitely be a way for people to come and say, yeah, we'll come and spend our credits here because it's not too bad.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think, like, back in the day, there was like some dodgy speaker brands and all that, and they just kept improving and improving and improving. And now, like, you go get one of these speakers from, I can't even remember, but the quality of the cheaper stuff that you can buy these days is actually okay, because they've had to just improve it to keep their market share. You know what
Yes.
I mean? And what do we all always know about Necromunda? Capitalism is king. So these Rogue Factoria, it's still about making money. It's still about making the credits, because the credits are what keep people off their backs. The credits are what pays off the less than scrupulous tech adept who's coming around checking all their work. So
yes.
if you have that mindset that the weapons still will eventually become good, then the work gangs actually become almost like quality control inspectors. So they're turning up and they're flipping through and they're monitoring the weapons and so forth. So that's kind of where I was taking this the whole time. It's almost like you could have a gang idea from that, where it's just a whole gang of people who are assessing the weaponry. Do you know what I mean? So you have testers and so forth. You have, you know, a servo skull that's actually a crash test dummy head, you know, or a servitor that's a crash test dummy, or whatever the case might be. And it's like the Factoria crew, but you do it as a complete gang. And then the Factoria crew are these added extras. The hedge armor is this added extra that just makes it look all a little bit more, I don't know, official for an unofficial Factorium.
Yes.
Yeah. So I really love the Rogue Factoria because, for one, it plays on the fact that there are elements of the community of the galaxy, I guess, that are willing to take the risk and step away from sanctioned and approved technologies and starting to do the dodgy things, all for that, you know, the big capitalism, the big C. And they also allow you an opportunity to really just mess around with some old school weaponry and so forth. Like you were showing me the other day not yet, the other day, yesterday, but the old metal weapon sets that you used to be able to get.
Yeah.
Those kind of weapons would almost look out of place in a few gangs, in a few armies and so forth.
Yes.
What's not to say that they're counterfeit weapons? Do you know what I mean?
Oh.
Yeah, and so you can do that with anything. Like, you know, you get a shoddy looking lasgun and you go, let's counterfeit it. But attaching the Rogue Factoria, I think, allows you just even Van Sar would taking on Rogue Factoria, right? Now, it's not. Yep. So even Van Sar is aligning themselves with a Rogue Factoria makes a great deal of sense as well. As much as they've got the respect for the technology, you could have a band of, what are they called? The Archaeotechs. The Archaeotechs who have decided we can do something different here. We need to take the shackles off. And that's what they already do. They want to take the shackles off. But they even go that next step further of going, we're really taking the shackles off. We're going absolutely crazy with this. We're going to find a completely different way of manufacturing these lasguns. It's going to be cheaper, it's going to be better, blah, blah, blah. But all they end up doing is becoming the enforcers, the muscle, the face of this particular Rogue Factorium. And that is how you develop your gang for them. And so it'd be really cool because it's all about the weapon swaps. So they all have lasguns, but they all have different looking lasguns. They're still with that Van Sar, I don't know, elite looking weaponry, but like different ways. Maybe the barrel sits differently. Maybe it fires from a different point. Maybe you insert the cartridge differently and so forth. And you play around with these counterfeit weapons that you can pick up off the black market, and you know, a rad cannon that's a little bit different, a plasma cannon that's a little bit different. But yeah, I think it gives you the opportunity to really just go a bit bonkers. And in fairness to us, I guess, I had not really ever played around with the idea of the criminal gangs. Yeah. So once we started doing a bit of research for this, I was like, wow, this is really cool. Like, noble houses, I'd sort of dabbled in a little bit because it's a little bit cooler, but the criminal gangs, I didn't realise how much more of an element they can really add to your narrative if you just sort of step back and have a look at it as a really broad-reaching, like broad stroke of what they're capable of doing.
Yeah. Dude, I'm loving the idea of this, how did you word it? The quality control officers?
Yeah.
Like, you know, where you've got the gang bosses, because he's got the, like, combi plasma auto gun or something, combi plasma auto pistol.
Yeah.
He's clearly like got some proper gear to him, and these other ones are just sort of keeping him alive. And he's with that gang where he's allied with those Van Sarians. Like, see, if you leave the House of Artifice and you join up with us, you get access to this type of gear. And one of the subtext goes to use this plasma pistol and pulls it, and his arms explode, and they're like, You're gonna get some. That's why we're here. We're here to see if there's any of this faulty equipment. We'll get you a new one. They're like, oh, a new plasma pistol. No, a new sub-tech. Like, it's fine. We can get them for you. It's all good.
Very manageable, that.
Yes. Yeah, sick. Okay. And I'm guessing that quality control crew was your gang idea.
Yeah, definitely. Like a quality control crew, clipboards, lab coats, all that kind of gear. But on top of the lab coats, you got the webbing, like a military style webbing, so they understand they're out in the field, and the white coat looks nice, but let's dirty it up so we're not a shining beacon in the middle of the Underhive. And then you would still have the gangers who are the testers, so they might be in like yellow jumpsuits or something. Just
Yes. Oh, that's sick. Okay. Alright, cool. We might do something strange and take a break here so you can, I don't know, maybe make yourself a nice hot tea and
I do need it.
your throat. Yeah.
I do need it. I'm feeling very rough.
So we're going to do that, and then using the seamless technology of simple editing, I'm going to almost go straight into what I would be saying. Almost like this conversation never happened, despite the fact that you've all just listened to me say it. And
that was seamless. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that was seamless. It was. This is why you didn't get acknowledged second best sports.
Just don't.
So I have chosen the Cold Traders. Now, there is always a market for off-world goods, especially those prohibited by the Imperium. Cold Traders ensure a steady supply of this contraband for any who can meet their price, and House Escher maintains close ties to the cold trade for its abundance of off-world goods and services. The great houses regularly turn a blind eye to these criminal activities if it means they have access to exotic pets and strange and wondrous xenos artifacts. Now, the cold trade deals with all manner of alien and void-born scum. These vile individuals normally cling to the fringes of the Imperium for fear of extermination or imprisonment. However, the Imperium is vast, and even on a populous world such as Necromunda, renegades and smugglers of all kinds can be found lurking in the shadows. For the most part, they keep to the Underhive, and as far from the Imperial authorities of the Spire as they can get. The Underhive is also a natural den of criminals, among which cold traders and their shipmates draw little attention, allowing them to conduct business with a minimum of attention from the Imperial House. A smuggler shore party is a gathering of renegades centered on a powerful cold trader. This could be anything from a disgraced rogue trader or Chartist ship captain to an alien corsair or xenos void lord. The shore party itself comprises every kind of spacer's scum that can be imagined, including Imperial Navy deserters, feral stowaways, and abhuman adventurers, all of which have thrown their lot in with the cold trader for the promise of fortune and glory. Now, hot damn, how could you not want that? Like,
totally
everything about that is like, basically picture Han Solo, but he's a Dark Elder, and he is smuggling, I don't know, I was going to say razor guns, but then I don't know why. But I think it's great because you can do so much with this. Like, it even says there, like, it's a disgraced rogue trader, where maybe he's the third-born son of a minor rogue trader house, and he squandered his personal fortune with gambling and, bad bets, and is now having to smuggle Xenos weaponry onto Necromunda as a way to sort of pay back the money he owes to a greater rogue
100%.
trader house.
Do you know the amazing thing about with the cold traders though is that they're like, for all the stuff that they bring in, they're very easy to pay off though, right?
Why are they easy to pay off, Nathan?
Because all you do is give them jackets. Because they're cold traders. Gives them warm.
Listen, I walked into it. I knew it was going to be something about them being cold. And I said nothing. I did nothing. I didn't make a joke about, they must have great DPS if it's a rogue Factoria, Do they do well with leather armor and backstab multipliers? No, I didn't do it. I didn't make a World of Warcraft joke. But I should have.
That's right. Because large buildings wear leather armor. I get it. Is that what you meant?
So one of the big benefits to allying with cold traders is that you have access to xenos artifacts. One of which we actually did go over in our Open the Armory xenos weapon like 2 weeks ago.
We did. Yeah. We did.
And you could actually access the sling gun, which and it's going back to Arcromunda. I love xenos weaponry. I wound up with I don't know if I told you this. One of my champions, the Berserker, got rid of his 2 power axes and ended up having a pair of Xenarch Death Arcs with the lightning patterns.
Telling me at the end of day 1. Did you get them at the end of day 1, or did you end up?
I got them at the end of day 1.
That's it. Yeah.
And didn't use them until today.
Yeah, and I'm assuming they weren't very good.
Hot damn. I'm just going to repeat the phrase, hot damn. They were so much fun. Shout out to Boss Muppet. So, literally, the first thing I did, I charged one of his, I think it was his champion or his leader. I charged his leader. And my Berserker basically just went to town with these Death Arcs. And I electrified that poor gal roasty toasty.
Yeah, right.
She wasn't cold trading, she was Kentucky Fried trading after that point. She was having a bad day. But I love the cold traders because it goes back to our Xenos weapons episode.
Yeah,
I would
definitely.
love to build a whole gang around the sort of the have-nots who are gravitating towards this cold trader, and yeah, I'd love to do them as like a Dark Eldar Corsair, and then build up maybe the bosun, which is like the second in command there, could be like an Imperial Navy deserter, or maybe that one of those rogue trader officers so they're comfortable around Xenos, and they're the sort of the face between the Drukhari and the Necromundans. I think, I love cold traders.
Just what you're talking about there with the the human face, and then you have the Drukhari and so forth. Why would there not be any other alien factions within there? Any other Xenos factions? You could do a gang of cold traders that is like a Magnificent Seven of all these different Xenos races coming together.
Build them as an outcast gang.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Build them as an outcast gang.
Yeah,
And do
so
each of them a different scene. Oh,
100%. So you have a Kroot and a Tau who are like a little brotherhood who came together, and they regularly go off and they trade with other Kroot and they trade with other Tau. They're looked down upon, but they make up some story about how they're supplying blah, 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 and how they're bringing the voice of the greater good to this part of the Imperium and whatever the case might be. So that would be like the Tau and Kroot, like little brotherhood. Then you would have a Drukhari, but also an Eldar as well, and maybe they are like they're constantly at war with each other, but they understand that they work for this particular rogue trader who maybe has played himself off or herself off as an Inquisitor, and is like, I can give you access to some great dark secret that you're looking for, or I can keep you secure and safe away from your world, or safe from these people who are tracking you down. You might even have, and I would. This one's like really pushing the limits, but a Necron as well. So I'm not great with Necron lore, but my understanding is that they are very quite sentient at the upper reaches of their hierarchy, I guess.
Yeah.
Right. So imagine if that a small modicum of that sentience, of that individuality and personality somehow got, I don't know, space magicked into a Necron warrior, and it sees itself as breaking away.
I hate that.
No,
I
love
hate that.
I love it.
Because everyone would look at it and see that it is a Necron.
No. This is where you misunderstand. You didn't let me finish this one. It doesn't walk around as a Necron. It wears a disguise, basically. Not like a Groucho Marx disguise, and not like a flayed one. It doesn't put skin
I was
over
going to
it.
say, it's just a Necron with the glasses, the fake mustache.
Yeah. Everybody's just like, oh, hello, noble sir. What noble family are you from? I am from House Marx.
Marks.
Catalyzed. Anyway.
Catalyzed.
So you could even have a Necron that maybe is they modify the external look of it and so forth. But you pick each xenos race and you try to like crowbar it into this gang as best you
Yes.
can.
Okay,
You
no,
know?
I love that. I love that. I actually,
Really
I love
push
the
it.
idea of this Necron sort of infiltrator. I'm going very Terminator here.
Yeah.
But a Necron infiltrator who literally, I don't know, but he's gained enough of his or her sentience back. And yeah, they're like, we want you with us, but you can't be walking around looking the way you do. What we're going to do is we're going to find a really tall human. We're going to skin them.
Yeah.
So the Drukhari can absorb their soul because, you know, they've got that thing going on.
Yeah.
And then we're going to use the skin to make you a human suit. And the Necron's just like, do I get to keep the glasses and the mustache?
Yeah.
It's like, yes, yes, you do.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes, you do, Brother Marx.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I really like that.
I was just thinking then, I was like, oh, what are those Xenos races? Obviously Tyranids. But the Tyranids, to incorporate them, it's just what? Don't look at me like that.
No. This is my look of there's crowbarring, and then there's you crashing a plane into the Pentagon. Yeah, okay. Continue.
But it's a little Ripper pet that he keeps.
No, I love it.
Yeah, it's just
No, I love it.
It's like, and you play it as a digilaser.
No,
So-
as a giant rat.
Oh, giant rat, perfect. Yeah, just one little Ripper, and it's just become like he's imprinted onto the Ripper, and the Ripper just constantly brings him like sludge to put into his nutrient farm to make
Perfect.
more things. It's like, what was that? You don't know? That's okay. That's
Perfect.
fine, little guy. You did what you had to do.
His name would be Ripper.
Absolutely, his name would be Ripper. Yeah, and do you know
Yep.
what? He would be a Ripper, mate.
Giant rat.
He'd be, but like I'm saying, he'd be
No, I get it. I get it. They know we're Australian. All right.
I'm sorry.
Put another
Sorry.
Sydney Harbour Bridge on the Barbie.
Oh, can we do that? I don't like Sydney either.
No one likes Sydney.
Nobody
That's
likes
the
Sydney.
thing.
Even you people in Sydney who are going to defend it, you don't like it.
No.
If you could, you could.
But
Alright.
no, I really like that idea. But I'm now just thinking of this Necron and glasses and a fake mustache. But the Smuggler Shore Party is insane. So there's the Cold Trader, which is basically your leader, and they're a standard leader, but sling gun, stiletto knife, armor weave, which is better Xenos armor, and a bio booster. That's cool. Like that's all right, whatever. The Bosun has a shotgun, like you're getting there somewhere cool, and a fighting knife, and has a mesh armor. It's once again regular person type thing, right? Cool, whatever. The Voidborn Scum are where the Smuggler Shore Party go insane. And I'm glad you didn't bring this up, because in my mind, I want you to picture Warhammer Fantasy Black Orcs. They're big. They're the biggest. They're the toughest. They're the strongest. Because the Voidborn scum are Strength 5 and Toughness 5. They are basically Slave Ogryn champions. Sorry, Ogryn with job champions with a weapon skill of 3+ and a ballistic skill of 4+. And you can give them auto pistols or las pistols. No. You are going to town and buying them like just like stub guns or shotguns or something crazy, because these are literally Ogryns, but in that Xenos gang you're describing, I'm picturing them as two huge orc scar boys.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yes.
No, freebooters. They're freebooters who've kicked along with this.
Oh,
They're like absolutely
done.
boss. Like, you know, there's like he's the biggest, he's the strongest, he's the toughest. We stay with him. You know, like and just because he's he's fed them enough mushrooms, or you know, the Ripper goes and finds some things to eat all the time, like something new and exotic to go eat. It's like, it's the best thing ever. What is it? Don't know. That's my orc accent, by the way.
I love it. That was really good.
Yeah.
Really, really good. You're a master of accents. I love it. I love it. I'm now picturing 100%. They are these two massive freebooters who have signed on with this cold trader, and it's just they're just like, you get us into fights and you pay us. Like, that's cool. Like, that's awesome. Like,
Yeah, and we keep all the teeth we find, whether they be pointy, flat, doesn't matter. We just get all the teeth. Yeah, it's the opportunity to make this gang would be so much fun. Like you take each representation of a Xenos race, and you just cram as much of their race onto that miniature as you can. Like, really just make them like too much. It's almost like when somebody goes on holiday to a certain city and they like fall in love with the city, so they wear all the gear. I love this country and or this city, and they have the hat and this, and that's what each one of these members would look like. And that's like, I mean, that's not even touching on things like Jaqueros and mate.
That's your heretic. You'd hire a heretic with this, and it's just this Jaquero that just hangs out with this cold trader, and it's just tinkering with their weapons.
That is so cool.
But playing with this, like, I would go fall back to what we were talking about during our Xenos weapons episode. I would go to town on Xenos weapons. I would go to town on Imperial weapons. I would want them to have next to nothing basic, because each of these characters is going to be their own sort of character. And you'd do them as pirates. Go the extravagant, they would all be garish colours. None of them would match.
Yeah.
They'd all be over the top, like those freebooters. Yeah, like this is where you can genuinely make a gang of pirates.
Yep.
And
and like the connecting theme would maybe it's credits that keep them together. Maybe it was a certain mission to hunt down some chaos demagogue who had somehow pissed off enough of them that they became bonded over this. Maybe they're all cursed to stay together, through some sort of chaotic nonsense. I don't know,
like a tomb of gold coins they pillaged, and then there's going to be like a space kraken. Some reason Bill Nighy is also playing
yeah, exactly.
Davy Jones in the future. I'm not sure.
Yeah, you gothic up the name. Davonius
Pirates.
Donicus. Yeah.
Pirates of the Carabinius sector.
Oh, the Cadeneans. Pirates of the Cadenaria.
You wouldn't find many pirates in an asteroid field, though, would you?
No, they'd hate that.
Yeah.
If we're like, do you know what? There's just actually too many places to hide, and I just I can't make a choice. I get paralyzed by my inability to choose which destroyed.
Yeah.
Before I can finish the conversation.
The planet might have fallen before the planet might have broken before the guard did, but you got to remember, there is not a single Macca's left here.
Yeah, exactly. It's not worth it. It is not worth it. Imperium Macca's. That would be very interesting. We have starch burgers and starch fries and starch Coke. What kind of starch? You know what kind of starch.
Yeah.
We just don't call it by that because it's not politically correct.
And then you get press ganged and you're in the Navy, son.
Yeah, exactly. It's a Macca's with a recruitment hall to the Imperial Navy.
Yeah. Instead of Coke Zero, it is you're unconscious and now you're in the Navy.
Absolutely. But yeah, so I guess I see the opportunity to build a really cool gang from here. But the cop trader themselves, mate, they are the perfect attachment to any House Escher gang. Because
Escher's all about it.
absolutely, they want all off-world. They're like anything that is on Necromunda is so last season. They want all off-world, not only for the things that they can wear aesthetically or put on themselves, but also for the stuff that they put up their noses and, the stuff they turn into a gaseous form.
Yeah. They're the ones bringing the exotic beasts. They're the ones bringing the captured xenos wildlife. They're the ones bringing the skins and the pelts and the Drukari chems and the dust molecules that they're turning into everything. These cold traders are the ones, and that's why their strong alliance is with Escher. These cold traders are the ones bringing them everything.
So when we talk about the cold traders, the first thing that instantly pops into my head, like as much as they've got that strong alliance, surely there would be some connection with the Eye of Selene then.
100%. Sorry.
Yeah.
I can't remember what episode we talked about it. We might not have even talked about it. I don't remember. But,
Yes.
so it's smuggling. So, they'd obviously be going, a lot of them would be going to the Eye of Selene, and then it's labelled as, I don't know, imported special sauce from Imperium McDonald's.
Yeah.
Whereas in reality, it's like xenos armor and weaponry, and they're obviously paying off the people at the different points to get everything down to the planet. But I don't remember where I read it, but sometimes they would literally fill like a shipping container and just jettison it in space, and it would just continue traveling on that path until it crashed like into the ash wastes, and it would be calculated so when it crashed, then they could go and pick it up and take it back to the settlements.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Like,
cool. So, see...
I swear I read it in one of these books. It might even be the... Oh, I've got the House of Blades here. Like, I don't remember...
But see, that's another way of looking at the cold traders. Is like it's a fun way to look at them as a band of xenos coming together and finding all these exotic items. But they could be like cold, very militaristic, naughty no-goods, for use of a better term. And what they do is they take down ships that they know are loaded full of the good stuff. So after they leave the Eye of Selene, they just become like fodder for effectively these cold trader pirates. So they crash them, right? Raid them and go sell it all. And every so often they have to give up a crew member or a couple of crew members because they're just like, the Imperial House is starting to put the squeeze on us because we've probably taken a bit too much stuff, or we've taken something that somebody really wanted. So we need to hand over one of our crew, and they find a juve or they find a gang member who's just getting a little bit too big for their own boots, and they go, you're going to get caught on the Eye of Selene, and all these charges and all these accusations are going to be leveled against you, and nobody's going to be there to help you because you'll be protecting the gang that way. And it's not a noble feat for them. They just get thrown to the wolves.
I love that.
Yeah. So honestly, when I think about it, I think about the Eye of Selene as being, it's obviously the gateway for all of these coal traders to come in, but it would be such an important meeting point for them and an important part of their journey into Necromunda. So if it is their first port of call, it's the first place they touch them.
Part of it was definitely House of Blades, and it's in the house territories of House Escher and the Edge of the Void, but it talks about, understandably, the clan house has a keen interest in the station's vast cargo cathedrals. This is on the Eye of Selene. And works with both legitimate Imperial agents and cold traders to bring in off-world goods or sell chems and ash waste creatures to the wider Imperium. Now, for the most part, the trade is so important to Necromunda that Lord Helmore suffers no interruption to its flows and comes down hard and without mercy upon any who do so. There are, however, hundreds of abandoned areas on the Eye of Selene, including loading docks, void locks, and cargo vaults where secret deals might yet be made, and it is here that the Escher fight for their piece of Necromunda's vast black market. So what you're saying there about the Eye of Selene is perfect. They're coming onto the Eye of Selene with legitimate cargo, and then they're making these deals with the Escher, or they're seeing legitimate cargo come on, and then as it's being taken down from the Eye of Selene down to Hive Primus.
Yep.
What's to say they haven't convinced some idiot to just happen who's in the cockpit to push it off course.
Yeah.
So then it gets shot down, gets pushed into Helmore's graveyard, where that Escher gang or that Orlok gang or that Van Saar gang or whatever are there to then loot it.
Yep.
Or that Xenos-led gang is there to loot the now crashed ship and then sell on that product.
Yeah, 100%. Or
yes.
When it's crashed, crashed in inverted commas, is in oh no, I've been shot at, I better make an emergency landing, and just lands and sells out the rest of the crew.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Just goes, yeah, I'm the pilot, I know what I'm doing here, hand over all your money, I now join this Orlok gang.
Yeah,
and
I love it.
I'm going to live here happily ever after. So this is a good way of using cold traders, again, as I said with the Rogue Factoria, to help create the identity and narrative of your gang. So you could have this really unscrupulous band of pirates who just beyond vicious. Every ship that comes in is just purely all they do is they just look at the manifest of the cargo. They're not looking at souls on board. They're not looking at what its armament is like, because they're not scared of anything. They're just simply looking at it going, it has this much cargo, or it has this particular set of cargo. We're taking it. It's not even a second option for us. We are taking it 100%.
I love it.
It actually reminds me of, I believe it was an episode of Black Sails, and they're trying to divvy up Black Sails.
What a show.
What a series. If you haven't had the opportunity to watch Black Sails, do yourself a favour. I actually know somebody who chose not to watch the last episode for an incredible period of time, just so it wouldn't end. It was that good a show to them. Anyway, in this episode, and please correct me if I'm wrong here, audience, they are trying to work out how to divvy up the cargo, and they're not even considering the crew. You know what I mean? It's all about the cargo.
That was Jack Rackham and Anne Bonny, wasn't it?
I believe so. Yeah. And it's oh yeah, there's a crew as well. We've got to do something about that. And they're like, well, just kill them. I'm paraphrasing a lot here. I can't quite remember, but I do remember the crew as being this secondary asset, and that's the way I see these cold traders, or these gangs that would be associated with the cold traders, would be working. So there's another element you could do as well. So you have the cold traders who are dealing with the gangs on the ground, and they're like, you're the first gang we come to sell everything to. But we're getting a lot of pressure from the nobles. So they want to get first dibs. So what we want to do is we want to take down one of our own craft. You go steal it all, and we will protect you. We'll say we have no idea who got involved. All this material has been taken. We can get more of this for you, oh blessed noble house. But it's now going to cost you a lot more.
Yeah.
And then you go down to the gang, you grab that stuff, You go sell it on to the noble house. You make a tasty profit for yourself, for the gang, and then you've got a system that works and you keep bringing in more of this resource. Every 5 or 6 shipments, it loses a bit. Maybe every 20th shipment, it loses the whole shipment, and you just keep making money hand over fist until you're caught, and then you just rat out the gang and leave.
Yeah. Oh.
So there's I guess the really nefarious criminal piracy and capitalism of Necromunda show through with the coal traders. Like, you can just, how would they be going to make money? That would be their main thing. Like, who are they going to make money from? The noble houses. So how are they going to exploit that? Who are they going to work with? If they're working with House Escher, yes, you're going to get all these chems and so forth. Maybe they load a container full of nasty chems that knocks out the noble house. And then they go take not the noble house member. And then they take that member and ransom them back via some proxy gang on Necromunda, saying, we've got your person, you owe us X amount.
I found the thing about the cold trade. So, it's in the Book of Judgment.
Oh, yes. Yep.
Other cold traders, especially those dealing in alien goods or dangerous xenofauna, use orbital dead drops to get their goods past Lord Helmore's blockades. Heat-shielded cargo containers, old shuttlecraft, or repurposed saviour pods are used to throw contraband down into the ash wastes. To avoid detection, some craft will release their cargo millions of kilometres from Necromunda, the containers tumbling silently through the void for months or even years before crashing down to the planet's surface. And then there are actually xenos smugglers who already live on Necromunda. So they are xenos living on Necromunda, whose off-world businesses are actually bringing everything on to... Yeah, that is awesome.
Now imagine, if you will, you're flying around in your Thunderbolt fighter. You've just taken out 2 Eldar enemy fighters, right?
Yeah.
You with me here? But you took a beating in this fight. Your Thunderbolt fighter's in a bad way. No weapons left, but you're going to get back to your carrier. You're like, yes, I'm making it back. I'm going to be a hero of the Imperium. Everybody's lauding you. It's only a matter of time till you're promoted further up the ranks. And the next thing you know, you're taken out of action by a shipping container that got launched 392 days before. And you just happen to fly in the pathway of it because it's just silently moving through space.
I love it.
That's so sad.
And it's black market. It's black market boots.
Yeah, just nothing special. And
here you are, this hero of the guard, and you were literally killed by boots on the ground.
Yeah, exactly. Hero of the Navy. Sorry, not the guard.
Hero of the Navy. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So, mate, I love the idea of the Xenos on the ground. I love the idea of these heat-shielded pods. It's such a cool way. As soon as it said heat-shielded pods dropping into the ash waste, right, I see recovery teams.
Yes.
But real special forces type recovery teams. Fighting against corridor scavengers, ash wastes, little nosy no-goods who are going to get stuck in, or others who now understand and read the signs of when a drop happens. And so you send in these incredibly elite, all bandanaed up and all dressed up in rags, equipped with incredibly powerful weaponry. And their role is they go and recover these pods. So they have to get into some of the weirdest, darkest, dankest areas of the ash waste just to recover some of this tech or just to recover some of these items for their masters. So, and they're constantly carried on a stick with you'll get off planet, it's going to happen, and then they just go and add another member to their crew, that sort of thing. So
yeah,
mate, That's a cool gang idea. Like, I would almost base them off Van Sar, just so that you have access to very good technology very early on in your gang development.
I'm genuinely picturing this. You'd probably even still run them as Deluxe, but do them up as that gang you were talking about before, that group of miscellaneous xenos, and have them all sort of running what's what I'm looking for. Have them running the crime from the ground, and yeah, they've got those different crews flying that same path every year or so, letting loose those containers. And they let loose 5 or 6 containers, but they're only 1 or 2 of them actually, get into the crime syndicate's hands and get sent through into the into circulation.
Yeah,
But those
yep.
2 that they've gotten through have made the Xenos enough money so he can continue maintaining his little empire.
Yeah.
That would be sick.
Do you know?
I'd love for them to be Tau as well. I'd love for them to all be Tau, because they'd become so disillusioned with the greater good that they're literally smuggling in black market Tau technology onto Necromunda,
Yeah.
because they don't have ethereals, but they've come under the sway of this water cased member or fire cased, where he's twisted their ideals. Yeah.
That I could see almost like what I don't know how truthful I am with this, but my belief is that Farsight, the way that he twists the mindset of the fire warriors under his control, it's just sort of like, we are now like this, like our ethereals don't have the sway over us, but I probably will be attacked and shunned by the Tau players, which I can probably live with. But so
do we really care about opinions if they're obviously wrong?
no, but look, I mean, all the Xenos races, bar like Necrons and Tau, definitely have a state to be in that environment. So Dakari, Eldar, Orcs definitely as freebooters, or even as blood axes. Blood axes.
They're full-blown mercenaries.
Yeah, exactly. So they've come to Necromunda and they're like, looking for a fight, lads. And then they're like, oh, we can attach ourselves to this rogue trader. We can do it this way. That would be a really cool way to run Goliath. As...
Oh, dude.
So
Goliorcs.
Goliorcs, yeah. You run them as these Ashway scavengers who track down incredible amounts of tasty off-world merchandise. So...
Yeah.
They would be really, really cool to do. I like the idea of the Tau, but I definitely feel if I was to run that gang, it would be all orcs. And just like all desert camoed up and all that kind of stuff. Because that's the way the blood axes operate as well. They do camo themselves up. They do, they do actually try and fight properly, not just like all like red, because red goes faster sort of thing.
Yeah, well, that's in old law, remember, they were the ones that would routinely just sign on to fight alongside the Imperium.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Other orcs were like, you can't trust them. Why? Because they march and they wear camouflage and they fight for humies.
Yeah.
Like,
exactly.
do they really? It's like, no, they do.
Yeah.
It's weird.
They're yuckies. Yeah.
But the what are the jump troops? The orc jump troops? The Storm Boys. They used to be corn worshippers.
Did they really?
Back in the day, they were corn worshippers.
Rubbish, really?
No, for real. I've got the Here We Go Orcs Codex somewhere. Orcs Codex from Rogue Trader days.
Yeah.
And we had the different types of hair squigs and like purse squigs and that sort of stuff. But Storm Boys used to be covered in like corn symbols. They were corn worshippers.
Wow.
It's super weird.
It's
super weird.
Because I was only got into them from second edition, so I never got to see all this. That is
it's ridiculous.
Sick. That is nonsense. Oh wow! I do remember them just like being able to spiral out of control and all that kind of stuff with their jetpacks, and they were proper fun back in second ed. Storm Boys, like they were just bonkers. Yeah, I guess unfortunately a lot of that gets taken out of the game because it needs to be streamlined. But that's again where Necromunda allows you to do those things. Oh man,
But
I'm sort of thinking, you could take blood axes and freebooters and even snake bites all in this little Xenos force. Some of them start to become a bit feral, start to
do
engage
them
with
as like you do the gene smithing. You can make them real dumb and like get rid of their ballistic skill and give them like spears and stuff.
Yeah.
And turn them into snake bites and do Galai orcs and then ally them with those Xenos freebooters, like Xenos traders, and have the two Voidborn scum be freebooters, and they're just like, "You're orcs, we're orcs.
Yeah.
Why are you working with them?" It's like, oh, they get us the good weapons that we can give you, and the orcs are just like, yes,
Me like
yes,
you. As long as it doesn't have a trigger, I'm fine. Just give me a stabby stab or a bashy bash.
yep,
Or
yep.
I'll even take a slashy slash.
or a smack and zap.
A smack and zap. Oh, Mr. Fancy. Oh.
Yep. Smack and zap.
You're just thinking about your bloody Xenos
Yes,
arc thing.
the Xenarch Death Arc.
Yeah.
I'm going to do a Cold Trader allied gang, and literally everyone is going to be equipped. I'm going to do an Iron Man 3,000 creds.
Yeah.
Everyone has Death Arcs. The
Great.
Juves have Death Arcs. The leader has 2 Death Arcs. They're going to be a Van Sar gang, so they're going to be useless in close combat anyway.
I actually ended up getting in close combat with some Van Sar, and it wasn't great. It was a slap fight.
No.
Yeah.
Although, yeah, I want to do a gang of only Neotechs and only do close combat and see how quickly I can lose.
Probably very, very quickly.
Very, yes.
Or do you know what
very.
you do? You take hand flamers, if you can take them, and just be like,
Yeah.
technically they're used in close combat, and then you just zip around.
They
on
are
the
sidearms.
skyboard. They are sidearms. Zip around on your board, just going flame, 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 flame. And then your opponent goes, do you know what? I don't like you, and I'm taking all your best swords.
I just have to start melting them down. Just grinding them and snorting them like I would if I was buying them from a cold trader.
Exactly.
But that is sort of the cold traders. My gang idea is definitely going to be the orc one. What's your idea?
Oh, definitely the mixed Xenos bag.
Oh yeah, damn.
Yeah, no, and I say that the mixed Xenos bag is just fun, man. It is just like, as I said to you, you're able to grab a miniature from an entire range and cram as much of that range into that personality as you can to try and elicit the story or the narrative for that particular character and why they are following this rogue trader or whoever they are, what have you. So no, definitely I'd be going down that pathway for sure.
Okay. Well, of the two we have gone over this evening, what is your favourite? Rogue Factoria or Cold Traders? And just remember, you didn't do any accents for Rogue Factoria.
I could do my Rogue Factoria worker accent. Do you want me to do that one?
Listen, I kind of do.
Oh, good day, mate. Are you going? I work on a factory floor. I like.
That's an
Yorkshire
orc.
puddings.
That's still an orc.
He's sneaking in. He's trying to get some counterfeit weapons. You caught him. Your security system works so well.
I like that.
Right. So, I love the idea of the cold trader. I think it's because it allows you to expand Necromunda into the stars. It allows you to play around with everything outside of your planet. But I really do like the Rogue Factoria because it pushes an ideological button. Do you know what I mean? It really...
Yes.
And like the cold traders do the same as well. They mess around with Xenos stuff, but you're talking about producing non-sanctioned... Like, you're talking about like some very iffy heresy stuff And that is without even going down the idea that they've got a demon forge, or going down the idea that they're trying to reinvent certain technologies that currently exist. You're just talking about the idea of just counterfeiting weapons. That's heretical behaviour enough. So I'm going to have to say Rogue Factoria is the one for me. Plus, I like the idea of being able to buy a Bultar.
The Bultars.
The Bultars.
I'm personally am really wanting to buy one of those Temu Blazoogas.
Yeah.
The Zablugas.
Exactly. Just flies literally a light. You're like, well, you know what? I deserve this.
Well...
And your favourite?
Cold Trader. Cold Trader.
Yeah.
Cold Traders. Oh, the idea of just being... I genuinely would love to... I want to see more Xenos on Necromunda. I'm a huge fan of Missile. I would love to see more... I hate to say it, I would love to see a bunch of Tau on Necromunda, because Vespid in the Ashways, oh buddy.
Vespid is something that I didn't even think about. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Just Kroot and like Demiurge and all like Tyrellians and all of these minor Xenos races, which one day I would love to do an episode on.
Mining Xenos races.
Yes,
it's not a great deal.
Like your people, hole diggers.
Hole diggers.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Thank you. You mean drillers? Yes. Well,
hole diggers.
What did you call me and Jesse? The
dirt grubs.
Dirt grubs. You're just a fool.
Yeah. Quick shout out to our boy Jesse.
Yeah. I haven't spoken to Jesse in a while actually, but yeah.
The Dirt Grub tabletop gaming OGs. I'd love to see more minor Xenos. And abhumans, and just non-humans. I want to see less humans and more not humans. And
I want to see that on Necromunda, but not in the Greater Imperium. Crush them all.
Oh, 100%. 100%. So, closing thoughts.
It's something that I touched on earlier in the episode. The criminal organisations, I don't think I have ever really been aware of how to use them in game terms up until we did a bit of research for this episode. And I was like, oh, wow, this is a whole nother facet. I would love to be involved in a campaign where you use those elements. You know, you allowed them to be explored and actively promoted by your arbitrator for the campaign. But I'm happy I know about them now, because it opens up another avenue to create the personality, the narrative, the individual stories that you want for your gang. And all you're doing is just simply creating a link, whether it be to a noble house or a criminal house, or to both, that allows you to go, this is why my gang leader has this name or has this weapon, and this is why we have 2 or 3 gang members equipped in this particular way, because they have the advantage of the Factoria, or they have the advantage of this allied noble house. So, yeah, definitely opening up my mind. I thought I knew pretty much everything, and I'm happy that I know more about it. But the next gang I make, I'm probably going to start looking at the criminal house that's allied to the gang first, or that has a strong alliance, to start to create the story for the gang from there first.
Yeah, no. Well, man, some of the ones we've got left, we got like the Psi Syndica, the what are they called? Like the Fallen Nobles, Imperial Imposters, and the Narco Lords, like our boy Balthazar
Van Zet, yeah. But the Fallen Nobles jump out at me straight away. Mate, I can't wait till we do them.
Buddy.
Sounds good.
Yeah, buddy. They're going to be a lot of fun.
So, yeah, that's my viewpoint on the gangs, the criminal organisation, sorry. What are your closing thoughts?
I think that the sooner we remove the voice of the people, so it's enough. Democracy's had its try. let's go back to oligarchies, and maybe the person we should be putting in charge is a 20-time nature boy of Necromunda style tyrant. I think we should elect me as tyrant, and the faster we get rid of people's ability to make the wrong decision, I can start showing them the right decision.
You are right. I shouldn't ask you about your closing thoughts. You are 100% spot on. I mean, you said a lot, but I'm just picking out the main elements of what the people need to hear. Yeah.
Yeah. No, my closing thoughts is we really need to do more criminal alliances. I've never done them. I would love to. We've flirted with them in previous campaigns, but we've just never gone that route. And I think it's something that I would definitely like to do more of. That and more xenos. But we're going to keep this episode a little bit, tight, a little bit shorter than normal. It's no 7-hour ginormagantuan episode. We're coming in, I think it's just under 2 hours. I've got to be up very, very soon. And so do you. And I'm at least healthy. Maybe not emotionally, but physically.
I'm most certainly not.
Yes.
I'm on the way out.
But luckily enough, I do have a quote. And this one here comes from the Book of Judgment. And it is about crime on Necromunda. True crime isn't committed by the man who breaks the rules. It is committed by the man who makes them. And that is Dago Jax, the Night Deep's Xenoveyor. And that was our latest episode of the Underhive Lorekeepers podcast. I am Spamuel, and on behalf of the Lorekeeper team, thank you for listening. Please follow us on our social media pages available in the show notes, and don't forget to follow and review us on your preferred podcast platform. As always, if you have questions, complaints, corrections, or if you just want to commit some crimes and don't do no times, please reach out to us at underhivelorekeepers@gmail.com. Thanks.